This Three Beards Media podcast may contain mature themes, and if you're not down with that, we got 3 words for you. Like the podcast. Nailed it!
Would you like to sample some of my nuts?
Hello and welcome back, dear listeners, yet again to another edition of Old Man Strength, a podcast of Three Beards Media, and brought to you by Revelton Distilling Company. I am Tim Johnson, joined as always by Chris Shipley. Chris, how are we doing this evening?
We're doing all right. You look like you're in a hostage video with a blank window behind you.
Yeah, I know. I need to get a new background. I need to figure all this stuff out. I still haven't figured out. I say new house, but it's been since the beginning of summer. But I need to figure out like a permanent studio for me. I've changed some things around a little bit. I got to figure out what it is. I just need to get some real podcast money here, and I can go rent like an actual studio or something like that. Yeah.
The guy that runs the purse strings to open it up a little bit. Oh, wait.
Yeah. So anyway, if you know a closet.
Damn it, Aaron.
If you guys know a closet that I can rent in South Minneapolis, let me know, and I will gladly put some sound panels and a green screen there.
Sadly, the price of real estate, I'm guessing a small closet is probably out of our budget.
Yeah, at these interest rates, I don't have $1,400 a month.
Right? No kidding.
Yeah, it's been a little crazy. How's the last week been, Chris?
A lot better, not bad. Yeah, it's been
Good.
been pretty positive, and Cyclones won, so that was a good weekend. And
Yeah, right.
Mom's getting settled in at her place, so
Cool. How'd your Bears do?
Let's move on. Let's go ahead. Our guest is waiting to talk to people, so nobody wants to hear.
Okay, perfect. I like that.
Although I did see that Caleb Williams said that he would like to have partial ownership of any team that drafts him, and honestly, I'm not necessarily opposed to that because God knows the Bears' current ownership sucks. How bad could Caleb Williams be?
Literally anybody should own part of that franchise other than who actually owns the Bears. So
No
I think
kidding.
that's totally fine. Cool. All right. Well, then speaking of our guest, let you go. I'll use your words, Tim. I'll go ahead and let you introduce our guest.
Yeah. So as usual, we tend to grab our guests from Twitter and people that we find interesting within the Twitter world in Central Iowa, and we brought on Ty Rushing, the senior editor of Iowa Starting Line. Ty, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, not too bad. Nice little Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I gave you a brief introduction, but why don't you tell our listeners what you do and where you're from?
Okay, so I'm originally from Kansas City, Kansas. Moved to Iowa almost 11 years ago now, which is crazy to say, to start my career in journalism. And so I've worked the Newton Daily News, the Northwest Iowa Review, Shelley Mail Sun, Sioux City Journal, a little bit of time in corporate communications. And now I'm at Iowa Starting Line. So I've been there a little over 2 years now.
Yeah, I was reading your bio on the page, and so it looked like you got out of a little bit, went to do some corporate communication, and then kind of got roped back in, as you said, from a Godfather line, and then they pulled you back in, right?
Right. That's pretty much how it went. My boss was very, very convincing and talked me out of leaving that nice, cushy 9-to-5 corporate communications life to get back into the insanity that is covering politics in Iowa.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that. So tell me, just give me a brief overview. You said you grew up in Kansas City. So, what was home life like?
So I pretty much grew up. It was my mom and I. Yeah, so just and then I was a nerd too, and I'm still a nerd. So like, a lot of playing Sega, a lot of keeping up with comics. Had a lot of friends. I played football, wasn't very good at it. In high school, I did debate, yearbook, quiz bowl, which is like Team Jeopardy. Like all basically, if there's like a geeky activity in school, I did it.
Crazy. Yeah. Sorry, we got a little technical difficulties because apparently Ty can't see or hear Tim anywhere. So
I think probably if Ty is like any of our listeners or followers, it's probably better for everyone involved.
Yeah, he said it's probably better all involved, Ty, that you're not that you can't hear him anyway. So we're working on some things there.
Yeah, I don't know
on
if
the back end. So
that's a StreamYard thing or what. We'll
yeah,
see.
it might be a StreamYard thing. So Tim, maybe log out and log back in.
Yeah. Let me see what I can do about that.
Yep. And in the meantime, we'll just kind of go from there. So Ty, let's talk about what you're doing with Iowa Starting Line. Let's start off with maybe a story that I don't know a lot of people saw was you were covering Ron DeSantis in Harlan, actually, which is the hometown of my wife, believe it or not. So she grew up in Harlan, and it seemed that you had some difficulties getting in to see him. What was the deal with that?
Well, I didn't even get in that. I didn't even get that far. So we had just one of my colleagues and I. He had flew in from Michigan to help us out during the state fair, and we had another colleague from Arizona who did the same thing. Just because we knew all these presidential candidates were going to be there, and we didn't have enough bodies in Iowa to be able to cover all of them adequately. So we had people at the state fair, and then Kyle and I were going to spend that Friday going to 3 different Ron DeSantis events. So, we're not TV. We don't have a bunch of stuff. We just got notepads and cameras, or not even cameras, just our cell phones. So we all registered as attendees, which we've done at every other event. We show up to the first event in Atlantic. It was in Atlantic. Went up to the first event, and it was just kind of like, we asked, hey, is there anywhere we can sit? And they say wherever. So we got some seats. We're getting video, getting photos. And when it's time for kind of like the media scrum at the end, that's like, when a candidate is shaking hands, meeting people, all that kind of stuff, doing photo ops.
Sure. Yep.
I'm like, all right, because this is Kyle. He's from Michigan, so he hasn't done a caucus event before. So I'm like, all right, get in there, make sure you get close. Like, you want to get all that kind of stuff. And so when it's time for the scrum, I noticed that he's like very off in the distance. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, I told you to get close. So I get in there, I'm like, all right, I'll get in there myself. And so I'm taking photos, trying to get some videos. And then, this one guy keeps walking in front of me. And, because it's Iowa, I'm thinking, and I'm a Midwestern, I'm like, oh, I must be getting in his way. I'm like,
right.
Wrong here.
Yeah.
And so, the guy's like ahead, he's like right up here to me. And so I'm like, all right, I'll just keep moving. I'll keep moving. And then he kept moving. And everywhere I went, he was there with me. I'm like, oh, he's following me. Like, it was kind of like, a revelation there. And so I'm like, that's weird. So at the end of the event, Kyle, my coworker, comes over to me. I'm like, yo, where were you at? He's like, security told me I had to stand back there. I'm like, what? And then the little guy who was like, following me around, like not subtly at all, just walks by us and goes and snaps both our photos. And I'm like, that's not good. So I'll call my boss. He's like, okay, go to the next event, just kind of see what happens.
Sure.
Maybe it was just a one-off or whatever. So we stop at a gas station to get some delightful eats before we get to the next event, because, you got to eat. And I want to introduce him to Iowa gas station cuisine. And we get to the next event. And as we're pulling up, I see sheriff's deputies' cars. I'm like, man, come on. I know they're not here for us. And so we park, we start walking towards the event. And sure enough, there's about 4 deputies. And then right behind them were private security. And then there's one campaign staffer who's all the way behind them. And he just yells out to us as we're walking up, sorry guys, private event. And because I had a feeling already, I had my registration up, and I'm like, what? No, we're registered right here. And I'm also wearing my press pass. Right. So, and it's also, I'm the only, giant black man walking around Harlan, Iowa. I'm not like trying to disguise myself. Right. And so then he's like, nope, sorry, that's it. I'm like, well, I try, and he just kind of walks away, doesn't give us any more explanation or anything like that. And we, have a conversation with the deputies. I'm trying to get some sort of answer, like, as to why. And then eventually they start talking about ice cream and told me I should go get some ice cream while I'm in town. So I asked them, okay, well, where are the best places to get ice cream? And then they suggest Dairy Queen or Pizza Ranch.
Yeah, see, that's suspect enough that they sent you to Pizza Ranch.
I mean, you know, but I was kind of disappointed. Like, okay, really, Dairy Queen or Pizza Ranch? Like, there's a lot of Iowa small towns that have like a cool local ice cream shop that's like, you know, mom and pop, locally owned.
Right. Yep.
And so I'm like, really? You guys don't have any good ice cream options? You know? And so basically, my colleague was recording the encounter. So we threw that up on Twitter. He ended up writing a story about it. And of course, it all blew up. And then we just never heard an explanation. We never got any sort of word about why.
And have you been not welcome at any other events of his or not?
So I have not covered one of his individual events since then. I've covered him at the state fair and at some of the bigger cattle call events, but I haven't been to any of his solo events since then. And it's not like, oh, we're not trying to, you know, tempt fate or anything like that. It's just like my schedule has been, you know, having me go other places, or I haven't been assigned to one.
Okay.
So the real question is, did you get any ice cream though?
The real question is, did you get any ice cream? Tim said.
No, we did not get any ice cream. Like, listen, we got Pizza Ranches and Dairy Queens everywhere else.
Right, Ty. I'm gonna have you just log out of the studio real quick, just
Okay.
maybe close out, and then come back in, and we'll see if we can get you reconnected here.
Yeah, that's weird. I like the fact that you can see me and he can't. I don't know. I'm like, I knew my computer was having issues, but once I logged back out and logged back in, I didn't know what was going on.
I think it's probably something on his end because the stream has all three of us as well. So
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
It might be something on his end. So
StreamYard also yeah, who knows? We'll see.
Yep.
We'll figure out what's going on.
yeah, for sure. Let's see if this works. How about
Hey,
now,
look,
Ty?
he's
There
back.
we go. I can see him.
There you
Hey,
go.
Ty,
I'm
look at that.
I'm sorry that you have to see him now. That's
I
there?
yeah.
Hey, Ty, this is Tim. I'll introduce you to Tim.
Well, nice to meet you. Tim.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Glad we're able to connect now. It was probably better before though when you couldn't hear me ask any questions. But we'll see how it goes.
Hey, the more the merrier.
I appreciate it. Okay, so shoot, Chris, where did we leave off?
Yeah, we were talking about him not being in the DeSantis event.
Oh
And
yeah.
That just seems that's
Boy.
crazy, right, Ty? I mean, I realize you're fairly young in the business or whatever, but have you ever seen something like that before?
Well, I've been in the business for a decade. I just look young.
Okay. Well, we're old,
no.
so everybody looks
Yeah.
young to us.
No, I have never seen that before. Like, you know, and here's the thing: there's been political events where like some sort of staffer says, "Oh no, we don't want press at this event," yada yada yada. I've seen that, you know, other journalists have, but like I've never seen a candidate, you know, call law enforcement to prevent someone from going to their event before. So that was different. That's what made that unique. Like if it was just a campaign event where, you know, staff told you can't cover it, it's not a story. It's whatever. But when you call law enforcement to, you know, act as private security for your event because you're scared of a journalist, that's a little different.
There does seem to be a whole climate though in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years where any press certainly, but certain members of the press seem to be treated with a certain amount of vitriol, and I don't understand why it's not political suicide to be against the press, and I don't get where that comes from. It boggles my mind, I guess.
I mean, the press is an easy target. You know, we're not sympathetic figures. You know, like everyone that has, you know, some sort of situation where they know the media has made them mad, and then there's also a big, you know, lack of media literacy in this country right now because so many people confuse, you know, boots on the ground community journalists with TMZ or the talking heads on MSNBC or CNN or Fox News. So they all think we're rich, wealthy elitists who went to private schools on the East Coast, you know, who make all this money. And that's really just not the reality of this industry. And so I think there's a big misconception about what is and what isn't journalism.
I think there's also a certain political advantage to making enemies out of the press. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain political capital right now.
Absolutely. Because we're right? Like I said, we're not sympathetic figures, so it's easy just to dunk on the press, like because everyone's like, yeah, You show that person that makes $33,000 a year.
hey, teachers have been doing that or been feeling that for 30 years of people dunking
the
on.
fun part about being friends with teachers is that I know teachers make more than journalists, so like I get to play the poor card on them.
Yeah, no, I think something like, I mean, particularly, I don't know. Obviously I have a bias, and I've very much shown my bias on this podcast, but I just don't get why, particularly in the GOP right now, there seems to be a race towards the bottom on how you just treat not just the press but the general public when it comes to things like that. Way, I mean, DeSantis isn't, for as ridiculous as that is, it's not acting out of line with probably a lot of his other, uh, uh, the other candidates for the same office in the same way at all.
Well, see, I mean, this is the weird part. Like, no one else has kicked anybody out this cycle. And I mean, like, okay, look at a guy like Vivek Ramaswamy. Like, he talks to anybody, any outlet, any press. Like, he had his staff, they're very professional, they're responsive. I mean, and I've seen the same thing with, Tim Scott's people when I've reached out to them. Like, other staffs and campaigns are just very professional, very courteous, work well with the media. I mean, sure, their candidate might get on the stage and say something negative about the media, but we haven't had trouble getting access to a lot of them. I mean, and then,
but don't you think that's because they literally need the, like,
well,
yeah. Ron DeSantis already has, like, my mom knows who Ron DeSantis is. Like, I'm not saying my mom is a Republican or a Democrat or whatever, but she knows who Ron DeSantis is because he already exists in, like, the public consciousness. But a lot of the other candidates, they're not necessarily household names by any means.
Oh, are you guys frozen or am I frozen?
I think you were frozen for a second, but yeah.
There you go. Go ahead.
Oh. Okay. I don't know if I froze or you guys froze.
No, go ahead. So anyway, I was saying, like, don't you think there's a certain amount where someone like Ron DeSantis is a household name and he takes for granted the fact that everyone already knows who he is?
That's a household name. I mean, for a lot of people. I saw an 8-year-old walk up to him at the state fair and say, "I want you to be president." So I think it's just like more of a him thing, in this particular situation. Because, like, there was a lot of Florida journalists who were quoting that video saying, "Yep, this is what happens to us. This is nothing new to us." Like, and here in Iowa, like, yeah, it's weird to have a presidential candidate who's trying to campaign and stomp on the state, not, talk to media. And I've even noticed that with the change in his campaign, where it's like, it's become a lot more friendly as he's tanked in the polls.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the whole political calculus on how you campaign you look at Trump. He's actively avoided any debates. He said, like, "Hey, I don't play that game, but I'm still going to," like, he acts very much like an independent candidate where he knows he's still going to be the front runner for the party. Like, I feel like the whole political calculus on how you get and court voters is just different.
Well, the rules don't apply to him. Like, he has his own special set of rules. Like, nothing you hit, like, sticks to him. In fact, the legal troubles have, like, made him more popular with his base. And then his base is about a third of the Republican electoral base. So, MAGA isn't going anywhere, and he's the face of that.
So do you think if you tried to get the same access to Trump, how do you think you would be greeted?
Well, I've covered Trump rallies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like, that's it. But, like, the thing with Trump is, like, you're not getting up there. You're going to get in there. You'll be in the media section. And there are some folks, some different outlets who have a little bit more access than we do. Like, I'm kind of like, and I'm used to just, being the guy in the crowd. Like, hey, I got in the building. That's good enough for me.
Sure. What, how do you, I'm trying to frame this question because I don't think that you have any bias. I've not seen any bias come, when I've followed you or whatever else, but obviously it's hard to be objective when you are denied access to a campaign. So how do you be objective going forward when you're reporting things, if you have access to a campaign that has denied you access before? how do you stick with your central non-biased
Well,
report?
I work for a left of center outlet. Like, we're left of
Right.
center. That's out there. That's known. Like
Yeah.
we don't
Sure.
we don't hide from it. We're not shy about it. But the thing about it is like, okay, if I'm going to cover you, the story isn't about what happened with Ty Russian and what happened with, me and you back then. The story is about what are you saying now? What are you telling Iowa voters? What are the voters who are at your event thinking? That's the story. How is what you're saying now, how is that connected to the message you've been telling before? Like, the story isn't about what happened to me over the summer. The story is about whatever we're talking about right now. What are your views and thoughts on this? What are the policy things? What are something new and notable that you said today? Like, I'm going into it looking for the story, not to be the story.
So then what are you hearing from like, not just that incident with DeSantis' campaign, but what are you hearing from the voters? And what do you think the voters are really? Because I mean, Iowa is an enigma and has always been an enigma. I've never understood Iowa for. I mean, I grew up in Iowa, right? And like, as much as I watched, Tom Harkin and Tom Vilsack, and I also see like 70,000-year-old Chuck Grassley elected to his 37,000th term, like in the same state that put Steve King up to so much. Like I can't explain Minnesota. I can explain. There's the cities, very liberal. Outstate Minnesota, very conservative. It seems like I can parse that. Iowa, I've never been able to parse. So how do you, as someone who's covering the state, how do you figure out what the pulse of the voter is?
Whew, that's a good question. Talking to people. I mean, talking to people and then just kind of looking at their actions. I mean, like, we've seen Iowa, like in the 10 years that I've been here, I've seen Iowa go from being a purple state. Like, I've never been here for blue Iowa, but like I've been here for purple Iowa, and I've seen it slowly go more and more red.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's way more red than when I lived there.
You just like, and part of it is like, the Iowa GOP is really, really good at messaging and really, really good at strategy. And even when they're ahead, they act like they're at the bottom. Like, the Iowa GOP stays hungry. I mean, I lived in the 4th district for most of the time I've been in Iowa, and they were still having voter registration drives, door knock, and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's their safest congressional district in the state, most conservative area of it, and they're still acting like they're behind up there. Like, they're just really good at it.
I mean, when you have the Democratic Farmer and Labor Party, and you can't get farmers or labor to vote for you, you're obviously literally missing out on kind of the two, because the farmers and the Labor Party, or the farmer and the labor unions in Iowa seem to go against that very broadly. How do they react to, like, again, the DeSantis incident that you ran into? Like, how are everyday people reacting to how candidates are treating outsiders, I guess? If it's fair to call you an outsider, you know what I mean? Like, you're trying to report on them rather than just be a part of that.
I mean, I always approach every situation the same. I'll come up to you, we'll have a conversation. Like, you'll see I'm wearing a press pass at these events. Like, I mean, this is a lot of people are like surprised when I tell them this, but when you go to cover a Republican presidential event, a lot of people are really, really chill. Like, they might say some things you're like, oh, okay, you raise an eyebrow, but a lot of them are just really conversational. I mean, I've had like when Trump was at the state fair, I was waiting on him to arrive. I got to Steerenstein super early, to wait on the spot and that sort of thing. And I just had a lot of pleasant conversations with some of the people around me. We were talking about places to get food in the Sioux City area. Another person was telling me that their daughter was in the state fair queen pageant. Like, I just have conversations with people. Then, that's pretty much my big thing. It's like, I like to talk to people. I want to hear what you're thinking. Like, it doesn't matter what I think about this or that. I want to know what you think if you're telling me about why this person appeals to you or why their policies appeal to you.
Do you have a thumb in the wind as to where Iowa voters are going right now?
Oh, Trump's got the caucus locked down. I mean, this thing is a wrap. Like, it's a wrap.
Isn't that crazy though? Because I was talking to a friend of mine, and with how he has treated the governor and how the governor is fairly popular in the state with her base and with the Republican base. I mean,
Which I don't understand how that woman ties her shoes. I don't. Anyway,
I know, but I mean, facts are facts. She, won the election and is fairly highly popular with her base. So when you have those people that are in her base supporting somebody that has not necessarily said very nice things about her lately, that seems to counteract that. Doesn't
You got to
make sense
remember,
to me.
you're thinking like the rules don't apply to Trump. Trump is he's his own set of circumstances. The rules don't apply to him. Like people, you can hear people be like, well, I don't like what he said about Karen Reynolds, but I still like him, or I still like what he stands for. Like, you'll hear people make excuses for Trump that they wouldn't make for any other candidate. Like,
like literally any excuse whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
Like so many things that would have been disqualifying for so many other people, right? Like
yeah, I mean, come on, think about it. Like, just how long ago that was with the Howard Dean scream? That was like 20 years ago, and it cost him,
and it ruined it,
right?
yeah.
Right. Meanwhile, Trump calls it 2 Corinthians. I'm sorry, 2 Corinthians. Like, that alone. Like, forget like the by the pussy. Like, forget all that thing. Like like if I went into literally any church in Iowa right now, and I said a reading from 2 Corinthians. Literally everyone in the church would say, you're not a real Christian. But the second that guy says 2 Corinthians, that's the whole deal, folks. It's the whole deal. The whole deal. It's 2 Corinthians. Like when he says that, they give him a pass. I don't.
Because you're Tim and he's Trump.
Well, this is where it becomes so hard for me to not. Like when I say that it's a cult, and I know like I'm not winning anybody over when I say that you belong to a cult, but holy shit, it's a cult. Like at the end of the day, it's like, come on, like you said, like he certainly a cult of personality, which is a finer thing to say than just straight up cult, but a cult of personality and a David Koresh style cult are basically still cults at the end of the day. And he literally like, he joked that he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue. He could punch a baby in the face. And I guarantee you 70% of his base would be like, that baby had it coming. She knew what she did. I don't get how that happens. How does that happen?
Sorry, you had froze up. Like you had mentioned
okay.
the what was it, 6th Avenue quote, and then you had froze.
Basically, you said if Trump punched a baby, 70% of his base would be like, that baby had it coming.
I mean, somebody would be like, well, that baby was a liberal.
Yeah. Seriously, they would find a way to spin that, and I don't get. It's hard for me to square the Iowa that I mean, I haven't lived in Iowa for over 20 years. I get that, right? Like the Iowa of today is not the Iowa I left. It's not the Iowa I grew up in. But a lot of this, I mean, my family's still there. I still go back there 4 or 5 times a year. I have a hard time squaring why because hey, when I was in Central Iowa, like I participated in the straw poll. I was a guest of I met Dan Quayle's daughters. I was a guest at this. Like I get all of that whole kind of I watched 2 like septuagenarians get into a fist fight at the Iowa straw poll in Hilton Coliseum in like 99 or whatever that was. Like I get the whole political theater that goes on there. I just have a hard time squaring the way that things have drifted. The same Iowans that finally decided that Steve King was a bridge too far still don't think that Donald Trump was a bridge too far. Like I have a hard time squaring that with just reality. I don't get it. I don't. Chris, do you have any thoughts on this?
I listen. We went round and round on this before. I don't quite understand it either. I think people are enamored that he is a TV star, and they think that he is an outsider that's going to clean things up. And I don't know. Listen, I can only speak like this. I have family members that I love dearly that support him and want to go see him at a rally. And I'm like, and then in the next breath, the next day, will complain that my mom doesn't have certain services that she needs through Medicare and Medicaid.
I
I just want to go, do you see the connection there? Like,
I mean, I don't
So
get how a
that's-
man who literally shits on a golden toilet thinks that he's an everyman. Like, I don't. He literally has a. I don't know.
My point being is that I think Ty is right. He is absolutely completely different. He is a different animal, and he knows it.
So Ty, let me ask you this. You said that you obviously work for a left of center publication. So obviously you're also covering the Democratic candidates, not just for president, but just for every other state office. What do you think the Iowa Democrats aren't doing, and why they've lost the ground that they used to have 20 years ago?
Let's see, man. I thought I was gonna come over here and have fun. You guys gonna be talking about work.
Oh, we'll get to fun stuff.
Chris is like, yeah, man, we talk about all this fun stuff, and then I'm over here just like, all the crap they pay me to talk about, or like,
hey, I need someone who's way smarter than me to explain things to me. That's why we had you on. This is called Homeland Strength, because we need smart people to come in and explain things to dumb people like
This will
me.
be the last political question time. And then we'll get to fun stuff.
all right.
Promise.
So, I mean, Iowa Democrats, they just got a lot of stuff going on internally. I mean, they haven't been as stable with their leadership because they've had, a lot of different party chairs over the last few years. And I think Rita Hart is kind of trying to stabilize that. And then there's also, I've heard from a lot of, small, like county party chairs, some of the people who don't feel as supported from the state party. So, like, they're pretty much like they're kind of like in a rebuild right now. And so, like, I know Rita Hart's big thing is she wants to make sure that the state party is present in every county, and that those smaller counties have support. I mean, you talk to some rural Iowa Dems, and they kind of feel like they've been left out there on an island. And so I think just kind of like, basically it's you got to rebuild this whole thing from the ground up, and you see some instances where they kind of you get these big wins, like the special election in Warren County. That was like such a rejuvenator for a lot of Iowa Dems because they went hard on that.
Yep.
You had the Polk County Dems, you had the local Warren County Dems, you had the state party, you had officials from across the state traveling there to door knock, get people to sign a petition and things like that. And, so seeing that person, Kimberly Sheets win, almost 2-1 in a Trump county, like that kind of like, revitalized a lot of people and made them say, okay, that we're getting a little bit of momentum now because they hadn't had a big win in a while. And so getting a little thing like that, it's just like boom, you're getting that one brick at a time kind of mentality, which is what they're going for. I mean, like, rebuilding an entire state's party infrastructure from the ground up, how do you do it? It's like eating an elephant one bite at a time. And so that was kind of like their big first bite.
Chris, explain Warren County to me.
Oh, we don't got near the amount of time. I mean, Warren County, listen, that I will give Kim Sheets props. She ran a smart campaign there. And it didn't help. It didn't help that the guy that got handed a job was an election denier. Like, I don't know that there's a lot of people in Warren County that buy that. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a little bit of fairness in people here. Like, that whole setup smelled like it was backhanded politics and somebody greased somebody's palms and things like that. So I think that was part of the reason why that election was even allowed to happen, because they had so many signatures to have that reopened. So I think there's a little bit of still good in Warren County as far as it wanting some fairness in elections and things like that. And then she just campaigned really hard. She did a good job. I mean, I was never contacted by the Democratic Party in the Warren counties in any other election, but I was in this one. Because I think, to Ty's point, this was a chance for them to reinvent themselves, and make a difference. So to his point, they got a bite early and started there, and let's see if they can extrapolate that. But the Democratic Party as a whole in Iowa is in complete shambles. It's in complete shambles.
It feels like a shame because it feels like it's ripe for the plucking, right? Like it's literally like you see like this overflowing bathtub of disappointment, and if anyone had any sense about them, they would just pull the plug out of the drain and fix it, but everyone on the other side doesn't know how to stick their hand in towards the drain and figure out how to fix any of that, so it's a nightmare. Ty, I want to switch gears here. We're going to take a break for grab a word from our sponsor. When we come back, I actually want to understand what's going on behind you, because you have like 3,000 shoes behind you.
I wish.
I want to learn a little bit more about what's going on behind you, but we're gonna grab a break. We're gonna grab a word from our sponsor at Revelton Distilling Company, and then we're gonna learn a little bit more about Ty Rushing, the person, not just the person who's going to teach me about politics. So we're gonna learn a little bit more from Revelton Distilling Company right after this.
At Revelton Distilling Company, everyone has become a part of the Revelton family. From the Taylors and their daughter who helped perfect their award-winning gins, to the team who installed Lucy, our 33-foot-tall custom-made still, right down to the local farms that provide our coveted corn, and even the cows on those farms who consume our mash byproduct. Want to see the farm to flask come to life? Now you can tour Lucy and find out where we take Iowa's harvest and transform it into our finest spirits. Choose between a 45-minute tour or find out even more by scheduling a VIP behind-the-scenes tour to get the taste of the full Revelton experience. You can visit them at 1400 West Clay Street in Osceola, Iowa, or find all of Revelton's award-winning spirits at any local grocery or spirits retailer.
Please go ahead and check out Revelton Distilling Company. If you have not been down to Osceola, 1400 West Clay Street, please go and check them out. This will be my little tease here that we may or may not have some more events coming up there in the future. We have been there in the past. It is delightful. Rob and Christy do a great job down there, and we would love to have you all come down and hang out with us. Chris, how did I do on that one?
Nice job. Yep.
So Ty, right before that break, I did ask about this. I've never been a guy who's been a sneakerhead per se. I have noticed though, it's so funny. My girlfriend's son is in 5th grade, and he can like point at like 5th grade, and he can be like, "Oh man, those are Air Force Ones." Like he can see all of that. Chris, can you? Yeah, I was gonna say if you can see what Ty has behind him, all of these things. How many pairs of shoes do you have?
Oof! It's gotta be like maybe a little over 100. Like, and that's just sneakers. That's not counting like dress shoes, driving shoes, boat shoes.
I'm sorry, driving shoes?
You don't have a pair of Italian driving shoes?
No, I don't.
What are you doing in the summer?
They're the same shoes that I wear when I mow the lawn.
Yeah, I have neither Italian nor driving.
You got a nice pair of Italian driving shoes for the summer. Like, get those out, gentlemen.
I'm 52 years old, Ty. I'm wearing flip-flops in the summer.
I drive a 2013 Subaru Forester. Whatever is on my feet are what are my driving shoes.
Listen, I drive a 2018 Kia, and I still got driving shoes.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead, Chris.
What's your favorite pair of shoes that you have?
So my dream shoes, like growing up, were the Jordan 11 bread. So bread in sneaker terms is black and red, and so those are the red bottom, with just the patent leather around them, black Jordans, like the 11s. He wore a version of them in Space Jam, not the breads, but a version of them. So those were like my holy grail shoes, and I got my first pair of them in 2013, and then and so my girlfriend at the time, she got them for me, surprised me with them for Christmas. They were I'm a size 15, but they were a size 14. And I remember because we were all trying to order them, I had her there at my place with her computer. I was on two computers and my phone, and I had another friend on the phone and the computer. Like, so we all try to get them. And I remember her being like, "Okay, would you be able to wear a 14?" I was like, "Yes, I can wear a 14 in those." And so yeah, she surprised me with them on Christmas, and like I love them, but like I absolutely could not wear a 14 in them. So like I would wear them, but it would be pain. It would be just like and so you know, like shoes like that, they kind of like come back around. I say like I think it's like every like 8 or 9 years. So when they came back around, I ended up winning a pair of my correct size. And so they're still really tight on the toe, but I make it happen when I wear them. Like it's when I wear those are like the showstoppers. Those are like, okay, I really want to like, you know, flex when I bring those out.
I've only had one pair of Jordans in my entire life. It was back in the 90s. This was probably like 95, maybe. I don't know. I just remember they were terrible for hacky sack. That's the only thing I remember about this entire shoes.
You playing hacky sack and Jordans?
I was playing hacky sack and Jordan. Well, man, I mean, yeah. Ty, this tells you everything about me. I don't know how to tell you how many more like hopelessly straight white old man I am, other than to say that I was playing hacky sack and Jordans. Like literally, like I was probably listening to like the Grateful Dead while I was there. It was like it's just terrible. Just everything about it is awful. So we can move on. But yes, no, they were terrible. They were terrible for hacky sack. But I also didn't have apparently a pair of shoes. Like I didn't change my shoes from indoor to outdoor like Mr. Rogers, like apparently you do. How many times a day do you change your shoes?
Oh no. I generally wear one pair of shoes for the day. Like what I do is I figure out what clothes I'm gonna wear, and then I'll pick what shoes I'm gonna wear, and then I'll figure out what outfit I'm gonna wear from there. So today I wore my Otterbots hoodie. Yeah, one of my favorite minor league teams. And so I was like, okay, do I want to wear my high dunks with the colorways, or do I want to wear my low top Jordan 3s with the colorway? And I chose to go with the low top Jordan 3s.
So Chris, which pair of New Balance did you go for? Whatever the fuck you're wearing right now.
Actually, I have. My wife bought me a brand new pair of Reebok slip-ons, but I can't have them until my birthday because that was my birthday present. So.
There are two phrases that you said that let me know your age. One was Reebok, and the other was slip-ons. Both of those.
Denny said, "I'm sorry, you lost me on driving shoes. I have one pair of shoes, New Balance with a big W on them." I don't know what off-brand you got, Denny, but New Balance usually has a big N on the side, not a W.
Yeah. No, I just think Denny's illiterate. I don't even think that was even that.
I actually had, Ty, you will not believe this. I actually had a very, very early version of the Jordans. I had my first pair in 87.
Oh.
We were this crazy story. My dad's very good friend who was fairly well off had invited us out to Vegas for New Year's Eve. Actually, it might have been, well, I can tell you when it was. It was the year that Iowa played in the Rose Bowl and Ronnie Harmon fumbled 5 times. So I was in Las Vegas for that time, and my dad would go gamble with his buddy every day, and my mom and I and his wife and kids were back in the room, and every day they would come back and they would, whatever my dad had in $100 or less chips, he would give to my mom for me to go cash in and go spend for the day. Well, I saved it for 3 days and bought a pair of Jordans there at that time. They were the original black and red. They were sweet, and man, I'd tell you right now, I'd love to have those now. But yeah, I had a very, very first pair of them. And was probably the only one in my school that had it. It was the one and only time I was ever fashionable or hip in my entire life.
What was it like when you walked into the school that when you with those on your feet?
I strutted. I also may or may not have had a pair of parachute pants.
I know you were killing it. I know.
Are you sure this was Michael Jordan and not like 1984 NBA ladder pick Lancaster Gordon?
No, it was.
You weren't in a pair of Air Gordons?
No, it was not. I bought them.
These weren't made by LA Gear. Are you sure?
I'm sure. No, they were actual. If so, the price tag was outrageous. You know what though? I mean, at that time they were $89, $85, $89. That was a lot of money back then. I wore those and a pair of parachute pants all the time. I had have no idea why I did not have a girlfriend. I had the
Karl Malone LA Gear pumps. I had the Dominique Wilkins Reebok pumps, but then I also had the LA Gear Karl Malone pumps.
Man, that's like the Karl Malone is so swaggerless. Like so swaggerless. Like, oh geez, that's a
oof. You wear some overalls with them too and drive your big rig truck.
Yeah, I was gonna say I had the LA Gear Carhartt pants.
What's the latest pair of shoes that you've bought, Ty?
Well, I'm getting married next month, so I have not bought a pair of shoes in a little bit because
she's putting a clamp down on you. That's what happened. And see, you get married, all your freedom's going, Ty.
No.
Can't be buying shoes now. You can't. You're gonna get all domesticated.
Well, here's the question. Here's the question. What kicks are you wearing to the wedding?
Well, that's a good question too. That is not decided yet because I still haven't got my suit yet. She's out there. She can hear us.
it's also parachute pants, Chris. Just so you feel better.
Hey, it's in Vegas, so that could work.
I love it. But you have to have a pair of kicks that you want to wear for that, right?
Oh, I got a pair, but like I need to. I'll have to go through and just figure out, like, depends on what suit I get. I'll match the colorways because I'm definitely wearing sneakers. But
okay, nice.
It's been heartbreaking getting those alerts and then not being able to buy
them. Nice.
I'll bet.
Nice. Let's switch gears here again. You showed us your shirt. Are you a minor league fan in general?
Oh, hold up, we were freezing up again.
Oh, okay. No, Ty, you were showing us your Autobot shirts. You a minor league baseball fan in general? Is this the shirt just a specific minor league shout out? Am I frozen again?
No, you're not.
Oh.
I think he's frozen. Are you there, Ty?
Let's see. Okay, I'm there. Are you guys there?
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
We're here.
Yeah. No, I was asking about the shirt. Okay. You flexed your shirt earlier. This is specific. We're gonna lose him again.
He's gonna come back in, I think.
No, man, I don't know what's going on. I thought it was my computer earlier.
No, I do think it's Ty's feed.
Okay.
So we don't normally have these problems, listeners.
I don't know.
We're usually pretty damn professional around here.
Yeah, something like that. 100 pairs of shoes. Right. Denny, how many pairs of shoes do you have?
All right.
All right,
Ty, you there?
Okay, I'm back.
All right. I was asking about the shirt. You gave us the flex on the shirt earlier.
Oh, the Autobots.
Yeah, the Autobots. Is this just a choice for a shirt, or is this like you're obviously following a lot of Denny has 3 pairs of shoes. That's funny. Ty, is this a following a lot of minor league teams?
Well, no, I'm more about the colors and the logos, but I'm actually the Field of Dreams ambassador for the Autobots. So
okay.
What happened was one of my coworkers who's in Virginia, well, she's now a former coworker, mentioned that they have a minor league baseball team there called the Autobots. And I'm like, wait, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, yeah, the Autobots. So I'm like, I tweeted about this. And I'm like, wow, I just found out about this, minor league team called the Autobots. And then they're like, yep, we exist. We're real. And then we followed each other. And then they asked me if I wanted to be the Field of Dreams ambassador. And I'm like, heck yeah. And so they have a national following because they already have an Iowa ambassador. That's why I'm the Field of Dreams ambassador.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah. So they have a national following, and then they make people their specific ambassadors. So I got Field of Dreams. We have an Iowa ambassador. They have other ones. And then I was like, okay, I love this logo so much. I got to get some merch. And so, yeah, I bought the hoodie.
That is cool shit. So what I'm hearing is that we need to be the official podcast network of the Autobots. That's
Yeah, tweet at them. They have a manager.
So I have to say, out of all of the professional sports, and I know minor league is barely professional, but I would say that in all of professional sports, minor league baseball has the best marketing, right? Like you look at the banana slugs, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like the banana slugs literally are setting the standard for everyone today. But for the longest time, like I look at what like the St. Paul Saints did here, where Bill Murray is still an owner as far as I know, and a lot of goofy things like minor league baseball has literally embraced like the silliness of it all. Like everyone else takes themselves very, very seriously. I don't know why minor league baseball is so good about not taking themselves too seriously, but it's so much fun. It's so much like a St. Paul Saint. Like it's different now that the St. Paul Saints are a AAA team for the Twins, and they got a new stadium and they're really serious. But before then, when they're at Midway Stadium, the announcer would literally just have a wireless mic and stand on the third baseline, like stand on the dugout and just literally call the game just from standing on the dugout. They had people like sitting in a hot tub in left field the entire game. Home runs would splash into the hot tub. There'd be someone like in a Velcro suit on the side of the wall, like. Minor league baseball in particular has really figured out marketing and how to make baseball for the fans more than anyone. And I don't, what is it about that sport and about like those people that has figured that out?
Yeah, I got no idea, but I'm so glad they've embraced the just ridiculousness of it all because and I think they also realize that, hey, sports are fun and we should be able to have fun while enjoying these sports. And so, it's just so cool. Like, I think it's the Albuquerque minor league team that they call themselves the Isotopes.
The Isotopes. They're like it's a Simpsons reference.
Yes, Simpsons reference.
It's literally a Simpsons reference. Yeah.
And that's so cool to me. I mean, so in Kansas City, the minor league team in Kansas City, Kansas used to call themselves the Kansas City T-Bones, but then they recently rebranded to the Monarchs.
Yeah.
A tribute to the old Negro Leagues team.
Yeah.
It's cool as hell.
Yeah. It's so funny to me because even the Iowa Energy take themselves way too serious. Like I don't get why so many other sports, particularly minor league, or the Iowa Wild, for fuck's sake. Like even the Minnesota Wild don't take themselves as seriously as the Iowa Wild do. But minor league baseball has totally just embraced the we're here for families, we're here for fun, and sure we're playing these players, and sure these players are trying to get up there. But they also don't mind just being a little goofy and those guys aren't making much, right? If you're gonna make $20,000 for a season, you might as well at least have fun and dance on a field and do something stupid for a while. Like the Saints have a peg running around on the field. you might as well just lean into it. Frankly, I wish more professional teams did that. I mean, if you look at the Minnesota Vikings, we might as well. I mean, we're already a laughing stock. We might as well already lean in on a little bit more of that stuff too.
Yeah, you probably should. I mean, I'm a Chiefs fan, so I don't got those problems anymore.
Oh yeah,
I know, but you did for a long time.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, it was rough. And that's what's so interesting about so many people hopping on the Chiefs bandwagon now. And it's like, oh, now everybody wants to be a Chiefs fan. It's the cool thing. And it's like, I've been a Chiefs fan my entire life. We've never been the cool team to root for. You don't know how bad it was when Tyler Thigpen was starting for us, and we had ourselves into it. There was a T-shirt calling him Thiggy Smalls with a picture of him photoshopped into Biggie's album cover. That's how dark my fan. That's how dark it was to be a Chiefs fan back in the day.
I know. So my ex-wife's family lives in Kansas City and used to have Chiefs season tickets. I used to go there a lot, but I've always thought about that. I don't Jesus Christ himself could be the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, and I don't think we would get a bandwagon. I feel like there's something about the Vikings that is just, it's not like you don't hate them like you do the Patriots or the Eagles, probably because they've just never had success. But they're also not, they've never been so bad that they're lovable, right? Like they don't have that Cubs vibe or, some of those other stories. I think the Vikings just annoy everyone. Like you could literally, like, I don't know that the Vikings could ever get a bandwagon. I also don't know that the Bears ever deserve a bandwagon, Chris.
Take a shot all you want. We at least have had the greatest team ever assembled. So
like all three of the listeners that remember the 80s are very excited about that. Meanwhile, anyone in a demographic we want to target doesn't remember any of that stuff.
We're literally the Old Man Strength podcast. That's not the demographic we're going after. I think it is. No, I feel you, Ty, with the Tyler Thigpen reference, because I once got to sit through a Jimmy Clausen start and was reminiscent and really missed Jay Cutler at the time. So that's how bad that was.
You know what? You guys at least have fun with Jay because you were like all the smoking Jay memes.
Yeah, I know.
It's funny because Jay Cutler was actually a decent quarterback compared to all the other quarterbacks.
Just a complete douchebag.
Well, sure, but I mean, like 90% of NFL players are douchebags. Like he's just more dopey than anything else. I don't know. The whole role of NFL quarterback is completely different. I think if Jay Cutler even just played, I mean, I know it's only been 10 years, but if Jay Cutler even played today, I think it would be an entirely different thing. I think there's so many other goofy memes that you could do, but I do like the Smokin' Jay and the sunglasses coming down. I don't know.
All right, Ty, we'll ask you as a Chiefs fan, too much coverage for Taylor Swift or not?
Oh my God.
I was avoiding that. We'll go with that.
So and then my fiance is a Swiftie, but she's a 49ers fan. So, but she's been enjoying this because she knows how miserable it makes me. So, like, she'll come watch the Chiefs games with me now, and she'll be like, "Oh, is Taylor's team playing? Oh, look, they're showing Taylor again. Look for her. They're showing." And she'll just she's just enjoys trolling me so much, and it's just and I get it though. Like, I get it from a marketing perspective. Like, okay. She's one of the biggest, most popular people in the world, and now she's taking an interest in your sport. You got to go nuts with it, but it's so wild because you could tell some of these announcers are forcing the references. They have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Would they say this? Because that's kind of been my case too, because I have no idea. I know Shake It Off in 20.
Yeah, I did literally. If I were an NFL announcer, I would literally just be like, "Oh, Travis Kelce's got to shake that off," and that would be the only thing I would be able to say. And I'd say it 7 times a game because it's the only. I know I probably know another Taylor Swift song, but it's the only one I know that I know, and that's because I have a daughter who loves the movie Sing. And that's the only Taylor Swift song I could tell you anywhere. I don't know. I'm not gonna get Swifties after us, Chris. So I'm not gonna say anything more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, be careful, man. Because
they are. So when Taylor Swift was in town. And the Eras Tour was in town the exact same weekend as Pride Weekend, and I got the F out of town and I went up north to a cabin because I had to get away. But I had a friend who stayed at my house while I was up north and went to that tour, and I was like, holy shit, this is a cult. So, to circle back to Trump, it's a cult, but at least it's a cult. But at least it's a cult that does good.
Gives out some friendship bracelets and
yeah. At least it's a cult that does good, but still, it's still I'm not saying that she's not talented or not good, but it's like, holy shit! Like people are just invested way. I've been struggling to try to find another pop culture reference, whether that be music or actor or whatever, or even athlete that has the same level of culty cachet that Taylor Swift does. Because there's literally never like Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce aren't the first athlete and musician couple ever, right?
Not sure.
No, they're definitely not the first one. But I've never known anyone that has inspired all these stupid like Taylor Swift is finally putting Travis Kelce on the map type of like goofy troll jobs that all these TikTok moms are doing. Like all of that shit. Like I don't know how that works.
Well, think of this as like this. Okay. Imagine a Venn diagram, except in this case, it was two very distinct circles that were very, very far apart, not even looking at each other, and now they've collided.
Okay.
And now you got Swifties entering the NFL and learning more about football and all this kind of stuff. And some of them, and then they're like, oh, is this guy really good? Is he known? And it's like now all of us NFL people are like, yeah, he's the best tight end in the league, and he's been the best tight end in the league for a while. The only person that was competing with him was Gronk and Kittle for like a couple of years before he kept getting hurt. And so, you have these people entering this new world. And then it's been so interesting seeing some of the Swifties on NFL Twitter because, like, we have known troll accounts like Coach 3-Year Letterman and Barry, and seeing some of them take their takes
seriously.
Yeah. Yes. So it's been like so fascinating seeing this like whole new subculture of, social media user like fall into this wormhole of bad takeism that we all know and joke about.
Some of the stuff.
I know. I just like it. I get it's fine. I love the worlds colliding. Can't you just get like Olivia Rodriguez to like date Roma Gaju or like some like somebody like it would be nice if like a climate scientist would date a pop culture icon. We could actually get people interested in things that we talk way too much about sports, but like something that really matters. Wouldn't it be great? Like, a vaccine scientist dated a pop culture icon. It would be great.
Whoever Taylor Swift dates, the Swifties like dig into this person and blow them up. So like this happened already, probably. We just don't know about it because we're not Swifties.
So then
there you go.
So then the biggest problem that the DFL has is that they should just be courting Taylor Swift to date a presidential candidate, and then that would be game over. I don't know why you literally aren't trying to hook up Taylor Swift with the presidential candidate. I mean, I don't know who it would be, but still, like, I feel like that's a missed opportunity right there. Or just again, like I said, it's a cult. It's just a different kind of cult, and a cult that probably has more power for good. Who knows?
Some of the best videos though are like these women that know nothing about sports, and they will tape themselves trying to claim that Taylor Swift put Chase and Kelsey on the map, and their husbands absolutely lose their mind.
Yeah. My fiance tried to get me to react to one of those.
Didn't work.
Oh, I didn't take the bait. I know what she was.
Like I said, don't take the bait. Just be like, yep, that's cute, and move on.
No, I just ignored her because like I felt the camera. I felt like
phone
next to him, like I know what you're doing.
Now, it was funny on the Kelsey Brothers podcast when the Swifties first started infiltrating their listeners and were sending them. They have that segment as No Dumb Questions.
Oh, God.
And then they would send them questions like, what's a down? And then having to watch Travis and Jason try to explain what a down is to these people in like the simplest terms. It's so funny. Oh, my gosh. I know, Tim, you're just so annoyed with it.
Well, because like 90% of them are troll jobs. Like I get that, and it's annoying. And again, like Ty said, I don't like to take the bait on that. I get annoyed, but I also get annoyed that like people are so entertained by that, because I just want to be like, is the best we have to offer that people are like we find it cute that spouses annoy each other. Like that one already bugs me. I know. I should just quit being
You
a fun
are an
hater.
old man. You're a fun hater.
I'm just picturing you as Grandpa Simpson yelling at the clouds right now.
That was literally going to be the name of this podcast at the beginning, was Old Man Yells at Cloud, but it just sounded
Yeah.
too easy.
Yeah. No, it is. No, I mean, I get it. Have your fun, but like,
You sound like the grumpiest, most get off my lawn type of guy right now. You have absolutely
yes, get off my lawn with your terrible takes and your cliches and your memes and your Pac-Man video games and hula hoops and Dan Fogelberg. Get off my lawn. I don't. Yeah, I don't. With your Air Force Ones and your hula. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Pop culture was lost on me when I was young and with it, and then I lost what it was. So I don't even know. Ty, do you feel yourself losing pop culture as you get older?
Honestly, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm fine with being watched because like I swear it's like every few weeks, like everyone's talking about we're canceling this like Twitch streamer or some YouTube personality, and I have no idea what it is, and I'm more than fine with that.
Hey, cancel everyone on Twitch and YouTube. It impacts me in no way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I just end up muting whatever the hashtag is, and I'm like, I don't want to learn about this. Like, I think what was it, the wife guys last year, and like I had no idea who these people were.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I didn't know what they were, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
because like one of them like had cheated on his wife, and they were like all known for being wife. I don't know. It was just like I learned more about this than I wanted to.
Yeah,
like I don't like this.
I've literally learned more about pop culture by backdooring my way through because of cancels than I have from even knowing who they were in the first place.
It's not fun.
Yeah,
I have two 20-year-olds that live here, and they'll come down weekly and go, hey, so do you know so and so? No, I don't have any fucking idea who you're talking about right now. Well, he's a YouTuber or he's on Twitch or whatever. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't know, and I'm okay with that.
I still don't know who Mr. Beast is, by the way.
I was just about to bring him up because I learned a few weeks ago.
I have no idea who it is.
He's like the largest YouTuber. I have no idea who he is or how he got money or why he's giving it away or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if I should be happy or sad about him. I don't know if he's a good guy, a bad. I don't understand any of this stuff. I don't know. Who's Mr. Beast?
So he is a super popular YouTuber from North Carolina, and he basically pays people to do these really extreme challenges. And he is like expanded that. Like he had like a restaurant chain at one point too. He's got like a candy bar line. He has like a whole food product line. Yeah, and then also apparently he like bought and built like a neighborhood for all of his employees in North Carolina so they can like stay in these houses for free.
He has employees as a YouTuber?
He's the biggest YouTuber in the world. Like YouTube makes money. Like if you have a big enough audience, you're gonna be paid.
This guy. You gotta be kidding me.
Hey, more power to, like, trust me, I'm not jealous of
the dude can't even grow a beard. What a
Hey, take it easy. Take it easy.
I'm not jealous of that, but I am jealous. That's probably half of my old curmudgeonly hate for all of these newfangled technologies is that it's not that I don't get it, but I'm jealous I didn't figure out how to monetize all of this shit first. Like I probably should have figured out how to be, because like some of the things I watch, I'm like I still don't understand how people have monetized that. I don't get it.
We're not the demo.
I know, but people were doing unboxing videos 10 years ago. You could have been a YouTube unboxing guy, right?
Well, you know what? I'm dumb. So when I was in college, I chose print journalism over, what we were calling web video at the time. And that was almost 20 years ago. So,
Yeah,
I can imagine my life would be a little different if I decided to, specialize in video platforms and the internet 20 years ago.
I mean, Chris is old enough that not only was web not even a thing, video was barely a thing. So
that's true.
was a thing called like flip book journalism? Because
he
could have done that.
Reel. Took a reel to reel, wheeled that in during study hall. We should probably let's hit the STFU segment, and we should probably start wrapping up. So
yep, perfect.
Ty, in honor of Steph Copley, I'm not sure if you know who she is. She was on the podcast last year, and as you've seen through this entire podcast, Tim never shuts the fuck up. So Steph told him that he had to shut the fuck up so that she could say whatever she wanted. So we have endorsed that into an opportunity to support the Young Women's Resource Center. So we're going to get a word from Steph about how you can donate to them, and then we're going to come back. Tim and I are going to shut the fuck up, and you get to say whatever you want, carte blanche, and we can't interrupt.
Hey everybody, it's Steph Copley, the woman behind the STFU segment on the Old Man Strength podcast. When I told the guys I wanted to sponsor this segment, they recommended that I make a charitable donation instead, so that's what I did. I chose the Young Women's Resource Center in Des Moines, Iowa. They're a nonprofit that supports, educates, and advocates for girls and young women ages 10 to 24. Their whole goal is to make sure that these young women become strong, self-confident, and successful. And if you know me at all, you know that aligns with my goals as well. If you're interested and would like to donate, check them out at ywrc.org and donate today. And remember, don't forget to STFU and listen every once in a while. Thanks.
All right, we're back. Ty, Tim and I will shut the fuck up, and you get to say whatever you want.
Okay, cool. So I guess I just want to say support local journalism. If you want to support Iowa Starting Line, you can go to iowastartingline.com, support us, but also just as importantly, support your local newspaper. I don't care where you are. If you still have a community, regional, metropolitan paper, some sort of newspaper, go out, find a newspaper, subscribe to it, support local news. We need more journalists in the field. We need journalists to be able to stay in the field because they can make a decent living. So yeah, support local news.
I'd like it. We literally had a local journalist on last week, and he told people to not listen to old white guys. So, which probably is also equally valid. But no, I really appreciate that. Ty, man, we've obviously run the gamut with you. Thank you very much for letting me pick your brain on politics, and I know that's probably a little bit headier than a lot of these other things, but man, I don't get Iowa. I don't. I lived there for 24 years. I don't understand the way Iowans think, and then I get on here every week with Chris, who's still in Iowa, and I still don't get the way that Iowans think, and I can't imagine the arduous task of trying to dissect the way that Iowans think with all this stuff. So I appreciate your insight. I think it's vital for helping other people understand what is really going on.
Hey, that's what I try to do. I mean, I love having those conversations with people. I'm not afraid to talk to anyone. And how else are you going to know how people are feeling about something, or what their thoughts are, or why they're voting this way, or think this way, or feel this way, or feel things are going right for them, and people like them, unless you hear them out.
Yeah, 100%. I appreciate all the coverage that you do, Ty. It helps bring a light to a lot of things that I think people miss out on. So kudos to you. You do a great job, and we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Excellent. Well, listener, you have spent yet another hour plus with the Old Man Strength podcast, brought to you by Three Beards Media and Revelton Distilling Company. Please go ahead and check out all of the podcasts on the Three Birds Media Network. We have a lot of exciting things going on. We have a brand new podcast that's going to be launching very shortly as well. So many other things to come as well as we reach into the holiday season. Chris, do you have anything else you kind of want to tease or talk about?
No, yeah, you touched on a little bit, but our new podcast is going to do their initial broadcast and recording Monday. It's going to be 3 blind refs. It's with Sam Anker, Jim Crozier, and Ben Applegate. They're 3 local high school basketball referees, and they're going to tell road stories and stories of high school basketball and their road trips and things like that. So they will premiere on Monday, and then we have a new host that we are going to announce for Side of the Storm. We'll announce that over the weekend, and he will be on the podcast with Brent and Marcus on Monday as well. So, and then check out Ball Don't Lie tomorrow with Teddy and Justin, and the Hawk's Eye View with Drew and Andrew on Thursdays as well. So we've got a nice little lineup. Appreciate all our sponsors, especially Revelton Distilling Company. Hot Mess Happy Hour just had a good episode released last week. So, and I sent Bitter Units some beer, so maybe I might actually do an episode.
There's things in the works trying to get people nailed down. Yep. Gotta check the specs on the roto girder. Anyway, so thank you, listeners.
It's all ball bearings these days.
It's all.
Come on, guys.
I'm very glad that we ended with the Fletch reference. That was the way that should have finished. That's the way every podcast should start and end. So with that, listeners, we very much appreciate that, and we will see you guys next time.